Welcome back to I Can Science That. Let's do some sciencing. This channel is supposed to be about honest investigation of everyday science. And, I often take inspiration from some of the most fringe ideas out there. And why not, right? We can investigate, and we can use this as examples of how to investigate things. Let's do that today. I've been interacting with somebody on Quora, and they have many interesting points, many interesting ideas. The claim is that the Gleason AE map is an accurate representation of what Earth really looks like. Using my Socratic approach, I asked then, if that is correct, then please tell me what is the distance between Perth and Sydney? And I want to compare that to the distance between New York and Los Angeles. The response was one I had never heard before. This is an original one, so this is inspiring for me. The response is that the Gleason map used to be accurate when it was new, but since then, obviously, Australia has shrunk. Part of Australia is now missing. And I asked follow-up, can you please show me the part of Australia that's missing? And this is the response. So here we are. We now have a testable claim, an easy thing to investigate. Let's investigate together. Let's not make this some kind of adversarial thing. Let's just look at Australia from the Gleason map, compare it to today's latest map, compare it and see, is part of Australia missing? Particularly, remember the original question was, what's the distance between Sydney and Perth? The claim being that that distance has changed. And I'm confused by that. I guess I asked, aren't those both on the coast? So if we think that maybe there's been coastal erosion, like a massive amount of coastal erosion, miles and miles, hundreds of miles of coastal erosion, then one of those cities must have been far inland and now is on the coast as the coast has come in. And yeah, this person agreed that that's what they think happened. So the first thing I did is I went and looked for the highest resolution Gleason map that I could find. Here's the one I found. I will link that down in the doobly-doo. And the first thing I want to do then is to compare Gleason's original map with a modern AE projection and see if Australia is a different size on Gleason's than it was back then, right? Because you can see here, this is the distances we're talking about. There's Perth, there's Sydney. That distance compared to New York to Los Angeles, and you can see this is a much smaller distance than that is. The thinking here is that, okay, nowadays Australia is the size of the United States, but back then Australia used to be much bigger. So let's just compare with a modern day AE map. Here is the modern day AE map I have chosen. It's from Wikicommons. Again, I'll put the link down in the description. So I have downloaded both of these maps and I have loaded them into GIMP. Let's take a look. Okay, so I have downloaded those images and I have put them into GIMP. Here we are in GIMP. Here's the Gleason map. And I have my Wikipedia map on separate layers there. They're not oriented. The first thing you probably notice is they're not oriented the same way. The Gleason map has Australia in the upper left corner. Wikipedia has that in the upper right corner. So I'm going to need to do a 90-degree rotation of one of them. And I figure, let's rotate the Gleason. Let's rotate the Gleason and we'll leave the Wikipedia alone. Okay, and one of my reasons for that is I have taken the time to outline the outline of the coastline of Australia. So the first thing I need to do then is rotate the Gleason map. I have a Gleason map, layer, let's do a rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. Okay. Australia's in the right quadrant now, but the Gleason map is actually higher resolution than the Wikipedia map, so we're going to need to scale down a little bit. Math is your friend, my friends. Okay, we're going to use a calculator. Here we go. What we need to know is the ratio. The equator, and I'm going to use the diameter of the horizontal diameter of the equator on this map is, you see it down at the bottom, 1023. I like 1024 just because, you know, I'm a programmer and stuff. 1024, is it, you believe that's 1024? Okay, 1024. I'm going to punch that into my calculator here. 1024. I'm going to divide by the diameter of this one. No, it's 1800. 1800. Okay. 1800. So bring that over to here. 1024 divided by 1800 equals 0.56888888. So let's scale this now. We're going to scale this layer by that amount, which was 56.88888888. Boom. Okay, let's see. How do we do? Okay. Now we need to line them up, and I'm going to use the lines of longitude to line them up with. I was really thinking that 90-degree rotation was going to be perfect. It's close. It's super close. Oh, interesting. Interesting. There's a squish on one of my images. Okay, so let's reduce the Gleason map vertically just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's really good. I'm looking at the equator. It's really good. This line's perfect. These are, yeah, a little bit off over here. These are good. These are good. Okay. Keeping in mind, Gleason drew this thing in 1800s some point, so, you know, I'm going to cut the guy some slack. Here we go. Let's take a look at Australia now. Looking at our world, does our world line up? I feel like that's really good. Looking at Greenland, looking at Europe, Spain, Italy, lined up really good. Saudi Arabia looks perfect. India, look at that, really good. Okay, let's go take a look at Australia. Okay, here we go. Blink test. Outline test. So, okay, the question I put to you is there a whole bunch of Australia missing? Do you see a big chunk of Australia missing? Let me remind you what we're looking for. We're looking for this piece of Australia to be missing. The piece where Perth is. Perth is right there. Here is Perth. You can clearly see where Perth is. This is Perth. Is it missing? There are huge amounts missing. I'm not going to make any conclusions. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you how we can do a little research and just see, is that true? Okay, what else did I want to do? Let's punch up Google Earth. All right, let's look at Google Earth, and we're going to compare with our Gleason map right here of Australia. We're going to zoom way in here. And the part we're looking for that's missing is where Perth is at. The part that was circled is this whole area. Notice this line of longitude going through. We're looking for the land, I think, that sticks past that line of longitude. 120 degrees. We're looking for the land that sticks out past 120 degrees. Where is that in here? Oh, here it is. Here's 120 degrees. Right, 110, 130, this one in between, 120. And here's Perth, right here. Here's the part that you circled. Sir, the part that you circled. So this spot right here, this intersection, that's sort of, dead center in your circle of missing land, is the intersection of longitude 120 degrees and the latitude. There's the Tropic of Capricorn. That is the Tropic of Capricorn right there. Let's see, where is that on Google Earth? Google Earth. Here's the Tropic of Capricorn. Here's 120 degrees. That's this spot. In the Gleason map, it's upside down. Kind of like that. So I'm not drawing any conclusions here. You can make your own conclusions based on what I've shown you. The hypothesis that we're testing is there a whole bunch of Australia missing since the days of the Gleason map? And the question was, what's the distance between Sydney and Perth, and has that changed in that period of time? Has there been maybe some coastal erosion? The three questions I asked were Perth and Sydney always on the coast? Or maybe did they used to be inland? Can you see on the original Gleason's map whether or not Gleason had them on the coast? So the question is, have they always been on the coast? Well, here's Perth, and here is Sydney. Okay, the next question I had, can we compare the modern AE map with the original AE map? Like, here's the Gleason's AE map. Here's a modern projection. There's the blink test. And we should be able to use that blink test to assess, is there a whole bunch of Australia that has gone missing? And the third thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to ask, does the Gleason map have lines of latitude and lines of longitude on it that we could use to line up with the corresponding parts on a globe, and see if we can see like a distortion or a change that way. So let's use lines of latitude, lines of longitude to line up this map and match the corresponding points on our modern globe. What do we have here? I'm going to call this 120 is right there. What is that? 100. No, 105. That's every 15. Okay, so every 15. So this is 120 to 105, 112, 112 maybe. And then up here it goes past 150 a little. Here's 165. So what is that? 155 maybe. So we're saying like 110, 112 to 155 along the Tropic of Capricorn. And Google Earth, there's the Tropic of Capricorn, and here is 110 and here is 120. So yeah, there's like 112 right there. I'm saying 112 is right about there. Here's 150, 160. So here's 155 right about here. So you can use this, like I was just saying, to see, do these lines match? Do these points match up? There you go. Those are the three questions I thought would be really interesting to look at, and here we looked at them tonight. I'm not going to draw any conclusions. I'm just going to say, when you find you disagree with somebody on a basic fact, we can look into it and we can see who's right, and that's okay. It's okay if you're wrong, right? It's okay to be wrong. You just say, oh yeah, look at that, you're right. So thank you for watching, and hopefully the results are clear without me having to spell them out. Is any of Australia missing since the time of Gleason's map? You be the judge. All right. Thanks, and have a great night.